Well, hello everyone. I'm finally back at it with another Ag Uncensored podcast and coming to you with the podcast and the pickup platform. I've had a little break just from my normal one as I don't know, summer chaos, football and not football games, baseball games and swimming and all that fun stuff. Anyways, to get into it, I'm kind of going to go after a post I saw earlier and even some talk over the weekend, um, little back and forth, talking around AI and its applications and the realities of it, all that fun crap. Because one talk was on this farm tank kind of chat forum on WhatsApp that Carter Williams has put together, and just a lot of people talking on there, just random stuff. Then another was a post. So I'm recording this on Monday morning around someone's observations of how their wife is dealing with AI, and she's a radiologist. And there's been, so I'll start there and then I'll kind of get to the other part. So this post, this guy who is in software development, so it kind of fits in my world of that in the ag space. And his wife's a radiologist, and he was like, "Are you worried that AI is going to kind of take over your job?" Because there's been some posts. I think there's even been some radiologists that said, "Oh my God, it detected this, and that would have taken me, an hour to look at and verify all this fun crap." And she said, "Well, I get that, and it will probably be able to make my job a little better in certain areas. Maybe the initial looking up of issues and finding some anomalies." But she said to him that it really doesn't matter, because say it does detect these things. Okay. Well, she still needs to hand it off to a doctor and they still have to verify it. Even if this AI tool verifies all these anomalies in looking at a patient, you can't just go off of it necessarily. You still need someone that has history and knowledge and like in the field, which gets to, agriculture. I'll get there. She said it'll take the same amount of time because I have to review it. I still have to review. I have to review what the AI did, because at the end of the day, that's what the culture of medicine wants. That's what the culture of medicine wants for patients. That's what patients want. They still want verification from a human. They still want that. We are not evolved enough to just trust AI to make every decision for us. Now, for some people, that is not the case for them. Sure, there is I'll call it a smaller percentage of people that are fine with it. But are they? I guess it depends on what it is. Could if I type in what I like about a vehicle, what I want in a car, or a piece of machinery, let's put the farmer cap on, and say, I need these things and these things, I have this big operation, or I'm driving this often, I have this budget, I want to find something that fits in there. Can it look through all these specs and things and logical things and say, hey, here's 5 recommendations? Sure, we can do that all day long. Yep. But can it answer the other things? The other things that are important. So if I look at, from a vehicle, of course, maybe we could put the right financing together, could all do this, but me too, that there's maintenance and on a vehicle. I have to go to a dealership. I want to trust that. In equipment, in agriculture, that's a huge thing. There are various levels of good technicians that can help maintain equipment, and the dealer support's going to be there. The trust, the handshake, the relationship. Those things, that's trust. And you build that over time. That's through working with them, doing. AI just is being logical and calculated. But we can't forget about that. And that's the thing between, say, a patient and a doctor is, you know, they tell them all this stuff about their body, things that they might not even input into some AI. Now, more and more, when you are visiting with a doctor or practitioner of some sort, my wife is a nurse practitioner, so she gets this, and I get it from her perspective and we've talked about this. It's like, okay, if it would help on her charting if she just recorded everything AI. And there's some EMR systems, those are the ones that bring in patient records, that do this. They are spendy though. And the same thing will happen in ACT. They're these same things, record what we're saying back and forth and then kind of put it together in a synopsis. Now that can help for her charting. And maybe it can find some nuance in that with other information out there. Yes, all that is true. Same can be done in an agronomy or making a choice. It can help guide the choice. It's a guide. It can help make it faster or just make it easier to make the choice. But a lot of it too is that you're trusting the other person on the other side to agree with it because they have the knowledge and history. So you're not blindly doing it. You're not just saying, oh, AI's right, whatever. We're not to that point. Give it, 20 years. Oh, maybe. Hell, we've come to a point in society where we basically trust everything that we read on the internet. So, we're gonna get there with AI, whether we like it or not, which is scary as shit because half the shit you see on the internet's, not true, or it's, slightly true, slightly not. It's easy to manipulate. So that's the challenge too, is the people developing these models and LLMs and other AI stuff, however far you want to go, agentic stuff or the human side of it, or it's actually can think like us. Can you trust it? Some will, but then, just like on the internet and, how it works, looking at the news and all these other things, you can say the right thing, but you can spin it and it can formulate a different way of thinking of it. This is the problem. Will people model these things to be factually accurate and speak in that way and reply in that way? Or is it going to be changed based on other information about the person and what they believe and what they think? Like, you tie social media, people's thoughts and what they type down and just their general personality, and you have an AI respond in that way that ties that, but then you basically, will an AI come to a point where it's just going to tell you what you want to hear? And it forces you to trust it. These are the things that scare me because I got little kids. They'll get into this stuff. I'm trying to keep them away from it for now and let them be kids, but they will grow up and they will be accustomed to it. It can help them. It can help educate them just as much as it can in agriculture. It can make you see things that you couldn't, learn things that you just couldn't process in the amount of time, or you might even say, I can't learn everything about, Roman history because it's just a lot. Well, heck, hey, I'll do a prompt and tell me everything about Roman history in a 10-page paper that gets me like 90% of it in bullet points instead of having to go through all these books. Yes, that's awesome. That's great if it's sticking to those factual things. But will it in the future match with maybe how my kids, how they react to, anything social and their personalities? It learns that. And then it replies back in how to tell Roman history. Oh, that, the elite were the they were wronged by the people or something, or the fall of Rome was due to other factors that or other factors are more persuaded as the issue than more of the real factors that are understood by historians, something like that. There's nuance in telling a story. Are we getting to that point? So let's crawl back here. Let's get back to the original part. So it comes down to that trust. So one thing I reposted it with my own thoughts, that same post about the radiologist and AI. And I brought up a question. And is, would you trust a food? This is food in general, but like right now we have organic labels, regenerative labels, healthy, all these labels of how something was grown. Well, okay, everything's grown by humans in some form or fashion. You could say, machines are helping, but if there was an apple on the shelf or some fruit, whatever, vegetable, doesn't really matter, box of cereal, and it said completely created by AI and robots, grown by robots, or grown by this farmer, or just grown by people, which would you choose? Would you choose grown by the AI robots? Because you're like, oh, well, they didn't, infect it with their germs, or, they are, because they're picking it, they're not using chemicals or something. That can be spun that way. Is that true or not? Just because the label says it. I don't know. Maybe it's got to have an organic label and a robotic label. And some people will trust that more. But will you pay for that more? Or will people get to the point like, no, I just want my food grown by people? Because, inherently they can see it and they're tasting it, they experience it. AI and robots don't eat food, so they wouldn't know. They might be trained to say, oh, you shouldn't put a metal shard into that apple, but can you trust that robot and AI to not do it? Just as much could you trust for your medical records some AI to not to fidget what they see into something that's not real to manipulate you, because the group behind that modeled the AI or the LLMs into whatever product has a different strategy to what they're doing. These are the things that you got to think about. And when we think about the culture of ag, this gets to my other point is on this farm tank talk, it's like, oh, AI can do this of agronomists, and in 10 years it'll replace agronomy decisions. I mean, it'll help. Will it replace an agronomist? Will it replace that trusted figure? I don't know. I really can't answer that. I think it'll get better. It'll augment what an agronomist can do. A lot of it, they'll be able to do more. I mean, there's a lot of farmers just don't use agronomists now. They just decide everything themselves. But part of that wasn't the point. Like I replied in the post saying, well, yeah, but farming is very hands-on and it's very emotional. There's an emotion to farming, to sitting in that tractor. And I've talked about this before, while maybe a robot can do a bunch of stuff and it's guided by AI and it can see all these plants and weeds and it can zap them or whatever, spray a chemical just here and there. Sure. And maybe that'll clearly get better. But when I was writing that, I was thinking of when I've combined. I combined for my friend this fall, and I want to get back into farming in the worst way ever. And I brought my son with. My 3-year-old son loves tractors and combines and all that. I mean, he's a 3-year-old boy. Of course he does. And seeing him sitting next to me in the cab while I'm driving the combine, and he, as what naturally happens in any kind of piece of equipment, the vibrations and the sound makes kids tired and they fall asleep. In that moment, I mean, that's what I want in farming. That's what a lot of farmers want. They want that passed down. They want that history. They want that emotional connection with their kids in it. And there's a lot of people building tech and ag that have no idea what that even is. It's just calculated math and science. Like, no, most farms are family farms. Most want to pass that down to other family members. It's tradition. That can go back, this goes into centuries and history in other places around the world. We want inherently humans to farm, but there's this big push to say, you're not good enough, farmer. This can do better. You're not good enough, agronomist. You're not this. And the other side's like, well, but it can do all these things. Like logically, it could help you. It can make it better. It's like, well, yeah, sure. But that's not everything. That's what so many forget. Just because I can go on the internet and learn everything about like everything right now doesn't mean I want to. Do I, as I talked about Roman history, do I want to learn everything about Roman history? No. I could. Easier than ever. Every year that I'd want to, I could learn about it better and better. I could just have things read everything about it to me and explain it and all these things. I can do that now. I don't want that. I generally get the synopsis of it and I'm good. See, that's the thing. There's this expectation from people that build technology that we have to perfect things when sometimes things are good enough. And the other things that people like about it or why they do it is for different reasons, for emotions, for caring, to pass it on down, to sit across the seat next to me with my kid seeing me do something that I love to do and that I want him to do that. That's the emotion. Like I'm getting emotional about it because I want that. It's less about, oh, the combine can drive itself and exactly formulate everything and make the machine super efficient and I'll have, only this much loss and everything, every single kernel will be combined and doop ba doop ba doo, we got yield and money and blah 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 and all this. Yeah, that's, I mean, cool, I guess. But that's like not all of it. It's nice for me. I just want to sit in a fucking combine. Because it's cool. It's fun. I grew up around it. I like doing that. Is it logical to race cars? I don't know. People just like to do it and they like to watch it. So they do it. Is it logical to two people in football to hit heads and almost get a concussion and all that? No, but they like to do it and people like to watch it. People like to grow things. You don't need all this crazy shit to enjoy it and do it and do good at it. Like it's the problem of how we are perceiving what AI is or isn't. And it's frustrating when people in the tech community just see it as another problem to solve. We'll just solve the problem of farmers not doing better, solving the problems of agronomists not being better, making more decisions more accurately. Everything's got to be accurate and perfect. It's just like this we have to all be thrown into an Excel spreadsheet to figure out exactly what's right or wrong. It's the notion that that's an absolute on how to solve problems in agriculture. And it's not. It isn't. It's not black and white. And this is the problem ag tech has had. It's tried to make things black and white. Oh, you'll create this app, and and the investors will put tens of millions of dollars into it, and because you can record your information better, that means you'll be a better farmer, and then we'll get your data and we'll turn it into all these other insights and make you better. And farmers are like, yeah, it's cool. I just kind of want to see how much it rains on my field. So I just have an idea. I'm still going to go walk the field and kind of feel down there. Because guess what? Your app's not going to tell me if I'm going to get fucking stuck today in a slough or not on the edge. I have to feel it. I have to be out there. I have to feel the wheels spinning. I have to see the mud fly, how I should angle going around or not. And I have experience of actually getting stuck in the same spot, so I'm gonna be a little finicky about it, or things like that. Or I'm combining. It's like there's the sensors can't bring in enough information to replace what's in here in the head. That farmer intuition over time, and that was one other part of my arguments is you can have all these great AI tools and all these great algorithms that do all these great things. Sure, they can help. I'm not arguing that. But part of my argument too is there's so much information that it can't decipher because we'll never tell it. A lot of farmers don't put every single piece of information about their farm in an app. They even put every single piece of information in a notebook. They store most of it here in the head. Here, I got my dogs quick. I'm going to finish this conversation here. My pups. They keep it close to them because they've had to. And when there hasn't been really options for that trust around where their data is and where it isn't and who controls it, then it's more reason to lock it in their head. And if now they have to they can speak now to an AI and it'll figure out all these things for them automatically because it's reading your conversations. Do you think they're going to like that? Like, really? Sure. The agronomist working for the ag retailer, it's out there making notes and all that, speaking to it's his job to do that and do this and that. I don't know. Cool. That's all great and fine. But there's still going to be limits to what a person's observing and what they say and how that all feeds into some model or whatever. For a farmer, though, it's going to be even tougher because they just inherently won't trust it. And that's where I'm getting back to is the trust. When they're having a one-on-one conversation with their, say, agronomist over the phone or in the field, they trust that interaction because they have history. It might be their friend, it could be their best friend from back home. Who knows? Someone they've known for 20 years, 30 years. They trust them. That takes time. Are farmers going to automatically right away just trust what an AI says and what it's listening so it can learn all these things so it can maybe manipulate them to my earlier points, which is possible? There's a lot less people my age. I'm 40. I'm an older millennial. I don't really, beyond LinkedIn, I post plenty on there. I don't really post much on Facebook or Twitter talking about my life. I don't put a bunch of pictures on there anymore because I know inherently what could be done with it. Now, sure, do some things here and there, something simple, but I've gotten even less and less wanting to do that. We're more apt than ever to hide information from others, even more so because of just the internet, just social media. And so now automatically we're just going to tell it everything because an AI is going to help us. Sorry. I'm going to tell you right now. What maybe some will do it. Yes, there's always going to be some that do it, and there's going to be a portion of the industry that accepts it for the various reasons. But if you think that a farmer's still going to just share this rare information from his head into some chatbot that tells everything of how he farms and just the whole day, well, yeah, some will fall for it, and then they might get scared, might not like it. Maybe not. I could be wrong. I suppose it depends what the incentive is. Depends on what the reality is from what they're actually getting from it. Um, but I'll end on this one point. So in one of those conversations, it was brought up, oh, well, you know, what's a farmer keeping in their head that they're not writing down? They're not putting in a software. I don't know if it was a serious question or not. Someone actually replied that, and I was like, well, there's like a million things. Do you share your day, every single day of what you do and how you do it on social media right now? No. You keep a lot of things in your head, personal things, different things, your thoughts, your beliefs. Yeah, some people, yeah, spread it all out there, but a lot don't. So, of course, there's things that farmers are not inputting. Heck, most, I would say, are not accurately, when they plant and they got all the modern tech, they're not accurately putting in the right variety, and they just put some numbers in so it works. They're not putting exactly certain things in. Sure, some sensors record very accurate things, and those are known, but sometimes that data needs to be cleaned up anyway. It's not right. Okay, well, AI is going to solve that. I'll clean it up automatically. But there's other elements to it when you're in the field and how you do it and what you see that are different things that you inherently know. Oh, I know where that rock is. I'm just going to go around it. Oh, well, you should fly a drone with it and map exactly where that rock is. Like, well, yeah, I mean, I could, but I know where the rock is. I don't need to tell anyone where the rock is necessarily. That rock's been there for fucking 50 years. I don't need to know. I don't need to have something else tell me where it is. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where that wet spot is. I know exactly where I did this or that. Sometimes we just don't need to share those things. Now, would it be good for future generations in this? Well, that's why you bring your kid in the cab and show him. And it's that emotional connections that they'll know that and you pass that down. We're not necessarily needing to give technology everything we have, because there's a thing called culture in agriculture, and there's emotion and there's feeling, and not everything is robotically calculated. And for all the people in ag tech and technology in general that want to solve all our human problems by technology, well, I get it, but for a second, just stop and think. Use your own brain and figure out that it's not all about that. I've been trying to say this again and again. It's not just about the technology. It's the time. It's the risk of losing time and screwing up. You know what would be the worst thing for a farmer or for an agronomist or for anyone in ag that has this expertise and just talking into a thing and saying every piece of information they have, is that that'll be shared out and it'll label them as a good or a bad farmer to somebody else. And that label will be detrimental to them. That's what they're really afraid of. They've been afraid of that in general data for years, working in crop insurance. They didn't want to share these things because certain things, because they're like, well, then it'll look like this. My APH will change to this, and I'll look like I'm trending downwards. Maybe it was just the weather's problem, but that's why people lie about their yields in the coffee shop, because they don't want to look like they're worse than their neighbor. So do you think they'd want to share all these things, these intimate things they know about their land that theoretically could be turned against them? That's the fear. And that's a real fear. It's not just some stupid thing. It's real. Now, do people do that? And do they actually do that? I don't know. Who knows? In different realms. But you have to understand that that's a real thing. That's the emotion, the fear of losing the farm, the fear of not being able to pass it down to your son that's sitting next to you, that all you've wanted your whole life is to do what you're doing right now. If you cannot understand that and can't build tech to help farmers and not make them fear of that loss, then you're in the wrong fucking industry and you don't get it. We'll see you later, guys and gals.